Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at some Legend teams for the Open Great League. A lot of people actually already at Legend, and so while we're in the middle of the Great League style, we can take a look at some teams here. It's actually more like 15 teams or whatever that hit Legend already, so definitely if you enjoy this video, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to support the channel, there's the membership option. But let's move right on to the team number 1. We're going to have the first Legend of this season. I already made a video about this team as well on this channel, so if you are interested in trying this out, maybe watch the video before. We're going to have Mantine in the lead. We're going to have the Poliwrath, and we're going to have the Gligar here, which is going to be an interesting lineup because it's going to be a little bit tricky to deal with Lantern. Lantern is kind of definitely a difficult Pokemon to deal with. Mantine can be a little bit tricky as well. Of course, you have your own Mantine, but still, this team was the first one to hit a Legend, of course, rank 1 in the world, so definitely an interesting team to go for. Of course, we don't have today a meta-analysis either because there's no real reason. I already made a video about Top Teams Great League around 1.5 weeks ago, so definitely check that one out as well. But here we're going to take a look at the second one, which I also showcased on my channel already, so take a look at the video as well for that. Trevenant on the thumbnail. We're going to have here a team with Gligar, Shadow Gligar, normal Poliwrath, and the Trevenant in the back. Trevenant is going to be a very cool Pokemon in the current meta, which you see on the screen here right now as well. Like a look at how many matchups you win with this Pokemon. It is absolutely fantastic, and especially in a meta where Fighting types are really common, water types are really common, and also electric types, I guess, with like Lantern are really common. This Pokemon is actually really decent, and also it does not really have the one issue that a lot of grass type Pokemon has, because this Pokemon actually is okay against Skarmory. I think you can win the 2-shield scenario with a Trevenant. So this team is definitely also very decent. Core breaker would be Mantine. Mantine is very difficult to deal with for this team. I guess you can still deal with it a little bit with your Shadow Gligar in the lead, but the rest is going to be very tough. But let's move on to team number 3. Team number 3 actually going to be 2 teams here with 2 different variations. We're going to have here the Lickitung, Gligar, and Wigglytuff team. I think I showcased this as well, but I'm not too sure about it. Yeah, actually I did definitely showcase the one with the Wigglytuff in the back, but you can also use something like the Annihilate in the back. Basically, you're going to have 2 answers for fighting type Pokemon. In the back there is your Saisob / your Closer, and your Lickitung as a lead. Lickitung lead is very good right now because you can a lot of times just align yourself, which is really important, or get like something like a shield advantage, and then you can go back in with your Annihilate, get some energy, and basically sweep the end team, which is kind of what you want to do here. A little bit weak against Skarmory, but I have to say, like, when I played this, I did not really have the issues against Skarmory because Lickitung is actually fairly decent still. Gligar can still hit hard with the Dig, even though it's resisted, it still does some decent damage. And so Wigglytuff a lot of times was able to sweep. But when I played this, I think I also didn't encounter too many Skarmorys. But definitely a very solid team that I used already, and that was really good for me as well. So definitely would recommend you to try it out. Next team, already on my channel from earlier on today, so definitely check out the video for it if you want to see some gameplay with it. What I also kind of want to say about it is that Greedent most likely does not want to run Trailblaze. I still have Trailblaze on here, but this is kind of what Poke recommends. I don't know what they were using. I would recommend you to go ahead and go for Crunch on the Greedent for several reasons. One of them is going to be Skarmory. As you can see here, Skarmory is going to be the hardest answer for this, but also Skarmory wins against your lead. If you give Greedent Crunch, you're still not going to win against it. In lost scenarios, you can still come up on top of it because you can have, for example, an energy advantage, or the opponent has already some damage on itself. Then Crunch would definitely help you out. Otherwise, here, lead of Dragonite looks pretty bad on paper, but if you go into the 2-shield scenario, it basically beats nearly everything in the current meta because, yeah, even against something like a Gligar, you're going to be easily able to beat. Or something like what's called Vigoroth, you're going to be easily able to beat in the 2-shield, so you kind of want to keep your shields for the Dragonite as well. But let's move on to team number 5. Team number 5 are going to be 2 different ones. You can decide what fish you want to have on the lead here. Do you want electric fish or do you want a ground fish? Whatever fish you decide for, both of them going to be kind of fine. Both of them do actually kind of very similar things for this as well, like for this team here. If you go for the ground fish, you might be a little bit tricky up against something like a Mantine, but still your backline is actually kind of decent against Mantine, so it's not going to still be kind of fine. I still think that the electric fish is going to be a little bit better for you, but again, like, this is going to be a team for fish lovers. If you love your fish, you definitely want to play this team. I don't know what I'm saying, but let's move on to the next one. Next team going to be a double team here as well again. Either Scuffle or Katanari is going to have here the Dragonair, the Whiscash, and the Mantine. I know that I think Katanari was playing Bubble Beam, that's why I put it on here. With this team, and so maybe Bubble Beam is the way to go. Not too sure. You can still go for Ice Beam if you really feel like it, but they were running Bubble Beam and Aerial Ace. Not too sure about Scaffle's moveset. Scaffle was running the Guslord, which is a very good Pokemon, which maybe I kind of want to take a look at as well, because Guslord has so much potential in the current meta. But let's move on to team number 7. Team number 7, going to be 3 teams in one. I don't know how smart it was to put them all together. I think for the team with the Alolan Sandslash, this was like Miridel's team was like Annihilate, Alolan Sandslash, as well as the what's called the Skarmory in the back. You kind of want to use most like the Skarmory as you say so, I would imagine. I'm not too sure, because yeah, I guess it is going to be the better Pokemon to use as I say so, at least. But otherwise, you're going to have basically 2 Pokemon in the back that are weak to counter. You have Annihilate in the lead as your fighting type answer. Some people were running close combat on Annihilate, others were running Shadow Ball. Really depends on what you want to do with that, but here are 3 teams. If you want to see the teams again in action all the time, basically their Twitter handle is on top in the top left corner there. So just go onto Twitter, look up those names. You're going to see those teams and some more information towards them, and also follow them if you're there already. But let's move on to team number 8. Team number 8, we're going to have here a team that you have not seen on my channel yet, but will be on my channel very likely tomorrow. Like, should have been already on Sunday, but I just had too much other stuff to upload. So here we're going to have a team with Shadow Tentacruel, Whiscash, and Skarmory. Spoiler alert for the video, it was really, really good. So if you want to see some more intel towards it, subscribe to the channel and wait for tomorrow. But also, maybe I'm already enabling it for the channel members. But here we're going to see a very strong team. Like, this team was a lot of fun to play, especially as Wikitough is becoming more and more common. You have 2 great answers for this Pokemon, and so yeah, this team worked out really, really well for me. Highly would recommend it to you. You can always get out with a Tentacruel the opponent's Lantern, and so like basically Skarmory, Whiscash Core, you know it already, but like this team was a lot of fun. You're gonna see a video for it tomorrow on my channel. Team number 9 here, we're going to have a team with the Cresselia. Cresselia is going to be an interesting Pokemon for sure. Cresselia is going to run Future Sight. Both players used Future Sight as far as I know. And then there's just the difference between if you want to have a Lantern in the back and go for a double fish line, if you like your fishes so much. But otherwise, you're just going to go for Skarmory. Skarmory Whiscash Core is, of course, very, very strong. A lot of times you kind of want to realign yourself, just like keep like the lead, try to win the lead with a Cresselia with a Future Sight variant of it, and then try to align Whiscash and Skarmory accordingly. Very smart idea here in general for this team, because basically unless you encounter a Guslord or the Bastiodon, or like the Mandibuzz, I guess, Cresselia gonna win against nearly everything. Like, you're going to have a lot of play against nearly every Pokemon here, and so if you can align yourself, you can just RPS the opponent. You can just sweep with the Whiscash and Skarmory. So yeah, it is going to be it for this team, and we can move on to the final one for today. Final one going to be a double electric one, and we're going to have another fish here, which is of course the most important of them all. We're going to have the Charger Bug with the Lantern as well as the Skarmory, or the Mandibuzz. I am not too sure if the Skarmory is going to be the better option over the Mandibuzz, I have to say. Here we have Skarmory as like the tested one, but I actually feel like that the Mandibuzz might be the better Pokemon, especially if you played the recent event. You should have a very good Mandibuzz available to you, as that Pokemon was basically spawning everywhere, and like you got some decent IVs most likely. So definitely a very solid team to start with as well. Like, Charger Bug, not the craziest expensive Pokemon, can ask to go up to a high level, but with Volt Switch and also the Lantern is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they have like 2 electric typed Pokemon in there, but I guess it does make sense. A lot of Pokemon currently weak to electric, and Charger Bug, even though it's like an electric type, it's not too bad against like its hardest answers. Even against ground type Pokemon, you can just usually play it out. If it's a Gligar, you can swap out into your Lantern. If it's a Whiscash, you can just stay in. So this team is actually very smart and very clever, so I definitely would recommend you to try it out. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.